All right, good morning, everyone. Hopefully, everyone's day is going all right. Maybe you're watching this in the afternoon, so good afternoon. LL here, doing my next video here to hopefully help you guys out. Um, I'm going to do a case study today on photographs. So, one of the most important areas of your shop listings is the photographs and how you're displaying them to your customers. So, really important that those are high quality. So, I'm going to go through a couple tips and pointers to help you guys out. As usual, I'm going to use live shops to kind of give you an idea of what to shoot for when you're doing your photographs. So hopefully that helps the visual learners out. Just a real quick background. I'm sure some of you have heard this before. My nickname is LL. That's what my friends call me. I've run a couple different shops for the past several years on Etsy. Um, I was able to learn from those shops and really trial and error over this past several years to really gain a lot of ground. And last year, one of my shops really took off. Um, my Living Limitless clothing shop, and I was able to actually make the decision to walk away from my corporate grind and do what I really love. Creating stuff to sell and focusing my time on Etsy. So making six figures for the first time last year on Etsy was definitely a blessing and something I'm very thankful for. So now I want to spread the wealth, share the wealth, however you say that, with you guys and go over some tips and tricks to hopefully help you out, so you don't have to go through it alone. And that's pretty much it as far as the background. So let's dive in here. And the theme each week, I'm trying to use a different industry or whatever you want to call it each week, just to give you guys an idea. So this week I'm going to go with use, as far as my demo, I'm going to go with art and use the listings related to art as we go through photography. I figured that would be a good place to start when we're talking about photographs, because art needs to be captured beautifully, so people get the point. So all right, so let's pull up a listing so you guys can follow along here and see. We're just going to be very general with our keyword here. In case you guys don't know, when you're searching on Etsy, these top ones are ads. People are paying for these. So if I clicked on one of these, it would cost someone money. So I won't click on them. I'll be a nice guy today. Let's look and see. Well, that looks interesting there. So very general. Very general. You're getting a lot of different stuff. So let's actually do canvas art. See, this is why you should be very specific when you're talking about your keywords. All right, so let's just go into one of these here. All right, so when your photographs, you want to make sure that they're high quality, so the lighting is good. You can clearly see what you're selling. So the lighting here is good. You can clearly see that they're selling this 3-panel canvas art. Let's scroll over here. So this is positioned a different way. Again, a different way. It looks like they sell multiple panels. This is in a different room, which is good. And here's all the dimensions of the art. And here's how it's made. Wow, so this one's really thorough. They pretty much hit on all the top points. So when you're taking your photos, you want to show your product in a good light so people can see it. B, you want to take photos from every angle, so people can see every angle of the object. With art, it's pretty easy. It's just a front angle. But what they do really well here is they place it in different rooms, in different settings, so you can really imagine that art in your house. So people want to put themselves, people want to imagine that item in their hands, using it or displaying it. So that's really what you want to capture in your listings, your listing photos. So if it's a shelf, you want to put stuff on the shelf and take photos of that. If it's art, you want to put it in different rooms so people can see how it looks in different rooms and different lighting. If it's a necklace, you want to put it, on a person and take a picture with maybe a couple different outfits on so they can imagine themselves wearing it with that outfit. If it's a hat, you want to do the same thing. Put a couple different shirts on with the hat. So you want to try to, if possible, put that item in a setting on a person in use and capture that through photography. Now, if you're starting out, you may not have the resources to do that. And have people model it, or it may be really time consuming to put it in different areas. But just make sure when you're taking the picture that the lighting is good and it's a high quality picture and it's displayed well. You don't have to go through all those steps initially and all that time consuming activities and resource involving activities. So just keep that in mind. That's what you want to shoot for. And then this person did a good job of putting the actual details in here. A sizing chart is good. Always, because people don't always look in your description. It should also be in your description if possible, but people don't always look in your description. So they have a size chart, and then they also have it looks like how it's made, which is really cool. People can see the quality of it. So they go all out. The other point that I want to make here is they use 7 pictures. Etsy does give you 8 slots for pictures. So if possible, you want to try to use all those slots up with your different picture angles and placements. Like I said before, you may not have the resources to do all those different settings. So do as many as possible, but just make sure they're high quality. So you don't always have to use all 8 slots, but you just want to try and shoot for it if possible, depending on what you're selling. All right, let's check out another one here. We'll just go to the one right here beside it. All right, so here's another one. This is a picture displayed on the wall. So pretty good angle here. You can see the front. Also, you can see that it wraps around the side. So that would take away and eliminate a question. Hey, does the canvas wrap around the side? Yes, it does. I can see that from the picture. So that's really good. Here's another display on a different wall texture. Here's one on a table. Here's one with stuff around it. Here's from the bottom. Yeah, and these are other close-ups. This one includes a frame. So yeah, this one's pretty good as well. They use actually all the photo slots. They get every angle, every shape, and they put it on different textures. So they do a really good job here too. The lighting's really good. It's high quality pictures. So this is another really good example of what to shoot for when you're doing your photos. All right, let's see if we can find another one. Let's go way back and see, because these top ones are going to be the most popular. So there may be some back here that we can provide some tips for. Yeah, all these seem pretty decent. All right, let's look at this one. Okay, this is an acrylic painting. So yeah, this is this first picture is a close-up. Sorry, right here is a close-up of the actual painting. So by the design, I was kind of confused on what that looked like. And then the next picture really put that in perspective for me. So this is a good example of putting your best picture first, the most descriptive picture first. So yeah, that's a super close-up. So you wouldn't want to put this picture first. I personally would probably have put this picture first because it shows it in a room setting, so it's clear to see that this is a rectangle and the design. This, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if this gray area was part of the picture or not until I went to that next picture. So if I'm you know, looking through Etsy, like right here, I may move past this because I think that that gray area is weird. So if I see, you know, this one up here, if I see it in the setting, I clearly know that that's a picture and it's framed out. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Put your best picture first. So people, when they're shuffling through their feed, they don't just go right by you. So other than that, I mean, these pictures aren't bad. They're pretty good. They used 5. They could have maybe done another setting if they had another wall where they could have displayed it to kind of show you a different setting. But other than that, it's pretty good. Um, so that's kind of the gist when it comes to photographs. You want to use as many as possible, good lighting, different angles, place it in areas where people can visualize. That's a big one. That's why people stage houses, so they can visualize themselves in a house. So you want to do the same thing with whatever you're selling, if possible. Put it in use or on display. The other thing I wanted to touch on really quick is when you're posting your picture, like I said, you want to post your best picture first in your listing, the one that displays your item the best, or what you think is the best, because that's what people, when they're scrolling through the feed here, that's what they're going to see and stop on, what catches their eye. But when doing that, Etsy will give you a thumbnail. This is a thumbnail, these little pictures. So what you want to do when you're posting your first picture is make sure the thumbnail is set up in a way that it displays your item the best. So here I'll show you really quick. I have a good example. So I just captured a piece of art here, which let me see. So here's the piece of art. This is just an example. It's not mine. So this, you can see, it's a pretty good picture. It shows it in a room on display. So this, I want to use this as my first picture. Okay. So when I put it in as a thumbnail, see, it looks like this. So when people are scrolling through for the thumbnail pages, they're going to see this plant and a little bit of the picture. It's not a very good representation of what I'm trying to sell. So what you want to do is adjust the thumbnail here, and you want to zoom it out so you can see it. And then you want to save. So that should save in just a second. So now this is a much better thumbnail. You can clearly see the art and how it's displayed. So it's more eye-catching when you're scrolling through. So just keep that in mind. Always check your thumbnails because it may put your item out of sight or not in a very good light. So make sure to adjust that. The other thing I want to touch on is using a smartphone is really good. Most smartphones take really good pictures now. When you're using a smartphone, you can use that smartphone to lighten the object. A lot of them have very good filters. Just make sure that you're not changing the coloring, that you're just lightening up the photo. So that's really important. If you're changing the color from green to blue and people buy it, they're going to be pretty upset. So keep an eye on your colors when you're using filters. The other thing you can do is invest in a lighting kit. A lot of them are pretty affordable on Amazon, so I'll show you here. You just type in photography lighting kit. Here's one for 52 bucks, 62 bucks. So the main thing is you want the lights here, these little lights, and then you want the little umbrellas. So basically the light will reflect off the white umbrellas. So you really only need 2 or 3 umbrellas and 2 or 3 lights. Like, this is a really good lighting kit here. I actually have this one, the Photography Photo Portrait Studio. This one's like 50 bucks. It has 3 lights, 2 umbrellas, and it reflects off. So you just set that up, and then you set your product up in the middle as far as how you're trying to capture it. Or if it's on the wall, you can bring these out and take a photograph that way. So clearly, these work for smaller objects. If you have a huge object, it may not work for. But in most cases, these lighting kits are good. So keep that in mind. You don't have to invest in it right away, but down the road, it is something to keep in mind when you're taking your photographs. So that's all I got for today, guys. I hope that helped as far as giving you some tips and tricks on your photographs for your listings. So Until next time, make sure to tune into our YouTube channel at Etsy Entrepreneur, as well as Facebook, Etsy Entrepreneur as well. You can follow us. We always are posting tips and tricks and videos. And in the future, we'll hopefully have some courses for you and maybe even a membership to really help you guys hit the ground running and really grow your Etsy shops. That's what we'd really like to help you guys with. So until next time, have a good day. Thanks, guys.